With the summer transfer window approaching, I'm going to play Atlanta United sporting director for a moment. Now, to be clear, this is not a prediction. This is not reporting. This isn't me saying Atlanta United is pursuing any of these players. This is just me simply doing a thought exercise. So, if you were handed the keys to Atlanta United's roster this summer and given the objective of reshaping the squad and beginning the process of cleaning house and building a contender over the next 3 to 5 years, what would you do? In my recent essay, What Would Mauricio Calibro Do, available on my Substack, I talked about the importance of making an immediate impact this summer to take advantage of the buzz generated around the World Cup, to enact some changes before the end of the season when even more building could be done with 15-player contracts ending at the end of 2026. But the fans are impatient. We don't want to wait too long. And we want to take advantage of the summer transfer window ahead of the sprint season, in my opinion. So, how would you reshape the squad? Which players would you keep? Which difficult decisions would you make? And most importantly, how would you use the club's designated player slots, TAM resources, and transfer budget to build a roster that actually fits together tactically in Tata's system and culturally together that can play well in MLS and pick up very quickly? So, to make this exercise work, I'm going to start with a few assumptions. First, Atlanta has already seen the loans of Juan Baracal and Matthias Galarza expire, creating opportunities to reshape parts of the roster immediately. Second, we're going to assume that the club is willing to make several difficult and potentially unpopular decisions involving some of its highest profile players. Now, if you're like me, I don't actually have a lot of hope or optimism this is actually going to happen, but for the process of this thought exercise, let's go for it. So the first is Emmanuel Latelot. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to assume Atlanta receives an offer that allows a club to recover at least some of its investment, although not anywhere close to all of it, or they buy him out completely. Azalte also needs to go. Just buy him out. Simple as that. That's two buyouts right there. The third decision is the one that would generate the most debate among supporters, which is Miguel Almiron. Almiron is a club legend. Yes, he helped build Atlanta United into one of the most successful expansion teams in league history, and he remains one of the most beloved figures the club has ever had. But this is a sporting director exercise, not a sentimental one. So for the purpose of this thought experiment, we'll find a way to move Almiron and open that designated player slot and create some flexibility for some younger, long-term investments. Now, is it likely that all of these moves happen in a single transfer window? Almost certainly not. But if the objective is to build a younger, more balanced roster capable of competing for trophies over multiple seasons, this is what I think is needed. So let's begin. The first major signing would be a new designated player striker. And for me, that player is Jonathan David. He's reportedly had some difficulties integrating with his team members at Juventus, and I think he might be looking for a move. The Canadian international is entering his prime, has scored consistently at the highest levels of European football, and offers exactly the type of profile Atlanta has lacked in recent years. He isn't simply a finisher. He's not this target forward that doesn't fit into Tata's system. He actually drops into midfield. He combines with teammates, presses defenders, and helps connect the attack. Financially, it would be a huge move. You're likely looking at a transfer package somewhere in the $20 to $30 million range and wages that firmly place him in the designated player territory. So that's DP number one. DP number two is a lofty dream of a signing, granted, and it would be a tough job to convince him to come to a struggling Atlanta United and to MLS, but let's have some fun here. That player is Takefusa Kubo. If you've been watching the World Cup, you may have seen him play. Kubo can operate as an attacking midfielder, an advanced number 8, or on the wing. In my opinion, he's highly underrated and one of the most technically gifted players in Spain, making the Athletics top 100 World Cup player list. And at just 25 years old, he would immediately become one of MLS's premier talents. The challenge, of course, is also cost. A transfer fee could easily exceed 25 to 35 million and potentially approach even $40 million because Real Sociedad see him as a key piece in their roster. His salary would require a designated player slot as well, so that's DP slot number 2 gone. But unlike many aging European stars who have arrived in MLS over the years, Kubo would still be firmly in his prime and would retain a significant resale value. So that leaves Atlanta with 2 cornerstone DPs. DP number 1, Jonathan David. DP number 2, Takefusa Kubo. So from there, attention shifts to the TAM market, where we had filled both of our DP slots. Now we need to find some reliable TAM signings. Nicholas Fonseca is someone I've been keeping an eye on for quite a while. He is currently on loan over in La Liga, under contract at Lyon in Liga MX, and his loan expires in June. He's exactly the type of player Atlanta United desperately need in midfield right now. He's a defensive midfielder entering his prime, a Uruguayan international, and a player capable of bringing balance and structure to the middle of the field. At an estimated $3 to $5 million transfer fee, he's pretty affordable. At a TAM level salary, he can be bought down, and he represents a piece Atlanta needs and is only being filled right now by players who aren't inherently built to play as a number 6. That brings me to Andres Gomez. He's a 23-year-old and provides pace, directness, and significant upside. Depending on the structure of the deal, he could fit either as a TAM player, potentially even a U22 initiative signing, which we do have a slot available for that. At an estimated transfer fee of $6 to $10 million, he'd add exactly the type of vertical threat Atlanta would need alongside more possession-oriented attackers. He's left-footed. He would be a great addition to the squad. And when you step back and look at the entire picture, a clear identity begins to emerge. Jonathan David connects play and scores goals. Kubo creates and advances the ball. Andres Gomez stretches defenses and attacks space, and you have Nicholas Fonseca protecting the back line and winning possession. It's not a collection of super famous names. It's a roster built around complementary skill sets. And after several years of roster construction that often felt very reactive, that may be the most important part of this entire exercise. So as the World Cup continues, more and more players will get the spotlight. Feel free to comment and let me know who you think would be a realistic fit at Atlanta United.